The heavy oak doors of the lawyer's office felt like a tomb. I sat across from my mother, who was already wearing a smug smile, and her 2 children from the man she had cheated on my father with. My father didn't just die, he was broken. He took his own life the day he found the evidence of my mother's years of betrayal. He left behind a hole in my heart, but he also left behind a meticulously planned will. The lawyer cleared his throat. To my son, and only my son, I leave the entirety of my estate, the properties, and the trust funds. The room went ice cold. My mother's smile vanished. That's a mistake, she hissed. He's a child. That money belongs to this family. My children, his siblings, need that for their future. They aren't my siblings, I said quietly. And they aren't his blood. This was his last souvenir. My mother lunged across the table, her face contorted. You ungrateful brat. After everything I've done for you, you're going to let your own mother struggle while you sit on a fortune? Give it to us, or I'll make your life a living hell. I didn't blink. I just looked at the man she chose over my father and felt nothing but disgust. For the next month, they played every dirty trick in the book. They locked me out of the house, they lost my belongings, and they whispered about how easy it would be to just take what was mine. They thought I was a grieving, dumb kid who didn't understand how the world worked. So, I decided to give them exactly what they wanted. An opening. I, accidentally, left my father's high-security briefcase and several signed, but blank, documents in my room. I even let them see me writing down passwords in a notebook. I made sure they heard me on a fake phone call saying I hadn't set up the fraud alerts yet. I watched through the security cameras I had secretly installed. That night, like vultures, they crept into my room. They didn't just take the documents. They forged my signature to transfer the deed of my father's main property and emptied what they thought was the primary trust account into my mother's personal offshore account. They were laughing. They thought they had outsmarted the dumb kid. What they didn't know was that I was the boss here. The blank documents were specifically coded trackers, and the trust account they emptied was actually a bait account I had set up with the bank's fraud department. By moving that money across state lines and forging a dead man's estate papers, they had committed multiple federal felonies. The next morning, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just called the police. When the officers arrived, my mother tried to play the victim. He gave it to us. It was a gift. I simply handed the detective my tablet. Here is the high-definition footage of them breaking into my private safe, forging my signature, and discussing how they were going to drain the brat dry before fleeing. The look on my mother's face when the handcuffs clicked was better than any inheritance. She realized in that moment that I wasn't my father. He was kind and fragile. I had become cold and calculated. Now, they are rotting in prison, serving time for grand larceny, fraud, and identity theft. Their new family collapsed the moment the money they tried to steal disappeared into legal fees. Every Sunday, I drive out to the quiet hillside where my father is buried. I bring fresh flowers and sit by his headstone. I kept it safe, Dad, I whisper. And I made sure they can never hurt anyone again. Thank you for making me strong. I'm not the ungrateful brat they labeled me. I am my father's son.